Hey guys, Robin here. I know it's been a long time since my last video, and in my last video I said I would be more consistent, but that's life. A lot of things came up in the last month, a lot of good things actually, and those are things that I can cover at another time, but it kept me from making these videos. Like I said last time, these videos, they take forever. And so this video, I'm kind of shooting from the hip a little bit more. No scripts, nothing like that. Just kind of walk you through everything that I've been doing over the past month on my journey from going from zero to hero game developer. For those of you who this is the first time to the channel, I'm Robin, and my goal is to go from zero to AAA video game developer in just 1 year. I'm documenting the entire process, everything that I'm learning, what I'm learning, how I chose what I'm learning, and some of those things you can see in my previous videos. So if that's something that you're interested in, awesome, stick around. And if you're not interested in that, well, stick around anyways, please. Anyways, let's get straight into it, all right? Okay, so a lot of my past videos, I've been talking about all these things that I've been learning and from this course that I'm taking. Well, I wanted to show you guys the course. It's Unreal Engine 5 C++, the Ultimate Developer Course. Now, this course is by Stephen Ulibarri. I hope I said that right. And this guy is legit. There is so much content in these courses. I mean, this one says 52.5 hours of video, but more realistically is like expect to watch the videos for twice as long, 100 hours, because you can't just watch them once and then, consume all that information. You have to go back, find scenes that, find parts that kind of go over something that you're having a question about and see really exactly what he's doing. So expect to spend at least twice as much, but there's so many videos, so many courses, so many sections that go over everything from just opening the editor, downloading the editor, all the way to, how to make your character attack. I want to show you guys just a little bit more about this course so you guys know exactly what's going on. Let's make sure it won't play. Okay, so here you have all the parts of the course, and all of this is public information. You can just go and it'll show you all these sections, right? This is where I'm at right now, attacking. Here you can see it says that this entire section will take 3 hours and 24 minutes to watch. It took me way longer than that. Now, I do take a ton of notes. I take a ton of notes here. I'll even show you. I take a ton of notes on each one of these lectures, and how I approach the lectures is I'll watch the entire section, right? So we have section 12. It's all of these videos. It's about 14 videos here. I'll watch every single one, and I'll take as many notes as possible throughout this entire lecture before I even go into the engine and before I even get into actual Unreal and getting to coding, because I really want to kind of see the entire scope of what he's trying to teach before I start going in there and plugging away. Another reason is, and this is a really creative way that he does his teaching, is he'll purposely do things not the most efficient way at first, so that you can it may seem the simplest, but it's not the most efficient, and then he'll go back to those things and correct them later on once you see where the flaw comes from. So if you were to go step by step with him, you would make all those flaws, and then you would go back and correct them, which some people might be into that. But if you just understand everything, take notes, understand what the flaw is, then you can just go back and do it right the first time. Another reason that I don't like to do it during the video is because I find that I'm really just like copy pasting exactly what he said to do, and just it's not really sitting with me well. So for the first time I watch all the videos, I try to understand exactly what he's doing, I take down all the notes, and then I go back and I do just what my notes say, right? So I'm like learning from what I previously learned. And then if I have questions or something, I'll go back and watch a part of the video, find my answer, or just ask in his Discord channel, find my answer, and then come back and then update my notes, right? And for those of you who this is the first time to any one of my videos, I will post these notes in the description below so that you guys can have a little bit more guidance if you're taking this same exact course. And just keep in mind, these notes are not, they're not like crafted for you guys. They're my notes. If you have questions, just ask me. Just message me on YouTube or something, and I'll get back to you. But they're not crafted, but I take my time with them, and so I try to make them pretty good. Okay, as you can see, I mean, there's a ton, right? So like way more than 3 hours worth of stuff. Okay. Okay, so Steven, if you're watching this, thank you. I love these courses. This course is specifically awesome, man. And, I'm so excited to finish the course so that I can start working on something that I want to work on. But you need to take this course. Otherwise, finding out all these things in Unreal is just going to be, I don't know how you could do it without taking a course like this. It must be so slow and monotonous to have to learn to do all these things without a course. Anyways, this is a course that I'm taking. Okay. So before we get into everything that I've been working on over the past month, I'm going to just play for you guys what I've built, and you guys will see exactly what I've been working on. Okay, so let's just get into it and let's play it. So I hope that's not too loud. If it is too loud, maybe I'll turn it down a smidge. Okay, that's just the environment sounds from Unreal Engine. Okay, so this is Echo. She comes with the Valley of the Ancients demo project, which is like 200 gigs, by the way. So don't just go and download it like it's no big deal. It's 200 gigs. But she's the main character that we're using for this tutorial, or for this whole. I don't even want to call it a tutorial because it's like a series of tutorials, but for this tutorial that we're doing, right? So I didn't model her, I didn't do anything like that, but this is her, right? And she looks outstanding. Okay, so you see she's like not in a T pose, she's in her idle stance right now. So we have her in her idle stance, and then when we start walking, she goes straight into her running. And then with my mouse, I'm just moving left and right here. And this is, this is all stuff that you have to build. All right, this mouse thing is not like built in. You have to build this. This is one of the things that, a lot of us gamers, we kind of take for granted, all these things. But all of this is, every little thing is built. Every little thing is put together, is coded, is made to work with different actors, different assets, okay? So she can run around, she can do full 360, she can jump. And you might be able to hear the footstep sounds. And if you look close to the footsteps, you'll see that there's a little bit of dust coming from them, okay? See here we have a sword, a low poly sword. It doesn't really go well, but this is the sword that I chose, and it's rotating up there. And I equip it, and we get the equip sound. Awesome. When I attack, it makes a little whoosh, and then she has a few different attack animations. Okay, that was one. She has the 360, and then just the standard. Okay. And then when she's walking with her sword out, there's a different animation that plays. It's not perfect, guys. I'm not about to make Skyrim tomorrow, but that's that. And then she can attach it to her back, run with it on her back, jump, and then she can pull it out. Yep. So that's it. That's what 1 month of learning game development, at my pace at least, will get you. Right? Cool. So we're gonna jump in, and I'll kind of go over in more detail how a lot of those things were created. So that map that I'm using, I've explained it in my last video, but we had this whole map that we spent a long time putting together, that Steven taught, and it's an open world map, and we used a landscape brush and the foliage brush, and we worked a lot on the lighting of the map. But in my previous video, I said that I tried to rename the map and it just went downhill from there. And then in the end, the map was deleted. So we're using this test map for now until I find time to kind of go back and make a new map, which I don't think will be anytime soon because I don't see a reason to have it until maybe it's important. But I will make a map again. Okay, so the first thing is that I want to go over is the collision spheres. So you can see here I have this sword. And then right around it, you see this little red sphere around it. That's a collision sphere. You can just set those up so that when you walk over them, you can use a conditional that says like an if statement. If you don't even know what that is, just think of it as like, if I walk over this sphere, I'm now allowed to do something more, right? So this sphere allows me, if I walk over it, to equip the sword. Okay, and that's by using overlapping input events, right? So an input event. So if when I take echo here, and I'm right back here, and I'm not overlapping the sphere, and I press E, nothing happens, right? And then if I'm over the sword and I press E, she equips it. Okay, so that's so that's how you do that. Another thing that you do here with the collision events is every actor, and then actors are pretty much just all these little things: this bird, this camera, this bat, this player start thing that you see here, these chairs. These are all actors, and so they all have like a collision, an ability to be collided with, right? And you can set them all in the settings, and I'm going to show you the settings. But Echo here, you can't see it, but there's actually, imagine like a string coming out of her back, and then there's a camera behind her, and it just follows her. So if this is Echo and this is the camera, and she's walking this way, the camera just follows her. But the camera is an actor, and so it has the ability to be collided with, right? So you have to intentionally turn that off if you don't want the camera to collide with things. So let me show you one thing. So we have like this high ledge right here where you see my camera is going in and then it jumps forward. That's because there's a collision event with this ledge. See, I'm going in and then I collide straight with it. And then when she runs off, it just continues to follow her. And it's the same thing with the ground, right? You can't put your camera through the ground. But sometimes you want to turn it off, right? If I see this item that's out here, I don't want and I'm just like running by it. You don't want the camera to like hit that bat. And so you have to turn that off. And how you do that is you have this here, these collision presets here. Let me just make sure that you guys can see what I'm looking at. Awesome. So here in the details panel, you have these collision presets. Now a bunch of these different actors have these as well, but you customize these collision presets to be able to either have like an overlap event to block something or to completely ignore collision with different kinds of actors. So if you were wondering, how do things bump into each other, Unreal Engine handles most of it. You just have to coordinate what you want to bump into other things and what you want to just completely be ignored. Okay. Okay, so that was like 3 weeks ago. Okay, now we're gonna move on to the weapon. And now it starts to get like pretty cool. And in the beginning of the courses, it's pretty like incremental. Just put a little circle on the screen, make that circle kind of rotate, like make a line pointing out of the circle. And they're all important because you need to understand the basics, but now that we're starting to work with, 3D models, weapons, effects, sounds, it's starting to get a lot of fun. Okay, so the first thing that we started to do after that is those animations that Echo had. I actually got them from somewhere else, from this website called Mixamo. And from Mixamo, you get this girl model right here. It's just a bot, and it comes with a bunch of pre-made animations. You just go to their site, you download those animations, but those animations are made for this skeleton. And you can see here that these bones here are this model's skeleton. Now this model skeleton is not going to match Echo's skeleton. She might have a more detailed skeleton with like less bones. Let me see if I can highlight these bones. Oh, here we go. So you see these the white here, these are all her bones. You can even see that her hair has a bunch, or her scarf has a bunch of bones, so that it can kind of have physics applied to it and kind of dangle. But all of these are bones, and you can see that she has more bones than the X-Bot here. And so if I want the animations from my X-Bot to work on my Echo, then I have to go through what they call a retargeting. And so I'm pretty much telling Unreal Engine, hey, this bone on my X-Bot, I want this bone to be like these 2 bones, or this 1 bone, or these 5 bones on Echo. And you do that with chain mapping. And then once you get all the bones from this X-Bot mapped to the bones on Echo, then all the animations will work together. Let's see if we can preview an animation here. Just get rid of these bones so you don't have to see them. Right? So this animation that you see is actually an animation made for this 3D model with that one skeleton. And through the retargeting process, we get that same exact animation onto a completely different skeleton with a completely different mesh and everything. So that's a pretty good skill to have, because let's say you find a really cool animation online somewhere, and you're like, wow, I really want that in my game. If you can get that animation with the skeleton that it came on, you could retarget it to a completely different skeleton, assuming that it's like in relatively the same kind of like humanoid skeleton, and it'll work on that skeleton with Unreal Engine. Okay, so I don't know if that's possible in Unity. I'm assuming it probably is possible in Unity, but that's a pretty advanced thing to have in a game engine. So that's really cool. Okay, so that is how we retargeted animations from Mixamo. Let me see, maybe I'll show you Mixamo real quick. Why not? We're already here. Mixamo. So for Mixamo, you need an Adobe account. Okay, just sign in, it's free. And then these are all the animations that you can use. You see, like this animation, and this comes for this skeleton here. But there are a bunch of cool animations. All right, like let's see this little soldier guy. What the hell? Where did she go? Oh, you see? You do female standing pose. Maybe that could be like an emote animation. And there's a bunch of characters as well. So you can download models for free pretty much just to use in your game. Right, and here's that model in that pose. That is freaking hilarious. Right? So you get it, right? Cool. So that's a really cool tool if you guys didn't know about that. Okay, next. So as you saw from here, once Echo overlaps with this sword, she picks it up and it kind of attaches to her hand. And you can see it's not attached perfectly. This sword was not made for her hand, right? But I attached it to her hand. And we attach it to the skeleton's body using sockets. And so when you're looking at the body, and we have all these bones, you can just select any one of these bones, and you have your kind of bone chart here. You can select them and just give it a socket, right? So let's say for this sword on her back, you want it on her back. So you want to put a socket somewhere on her back. So you create that socket on a bone, and then now you can attach anything that you want, any kind of mesh to that socket, and you can move that socket around. So if I select this spine socket, now this socket is made just to hold this sword on her back, right? But I can like move it out. Like let's say I want her sword to like float on her back as she's running around, then it would be out here. And then if I want it kind of closer, but maybe I want it like lower on her back, it could be right there, right? Just gonna not save those because I don't want to ruin this. Okay. So like you can imagine that if you wanted like a pistol on a hip or something like that, you would just find the hip bone or somewhere close, find the hip bone. You would like right click the hip bone right here and you would click add, I'll just do it, add socket. And so here I have thigh R socket, and then I can just rename it. I'll just make it a pistol holster socket. All right. And then I will put in a, see if I can put a preview animation. No. See, I'm already forgetting. I might have to do it here. It's kind of embarrassing. I forget how to put the animation on it. How to put the mesh as a preview on it. But you can do that. You can just preview it on Echo's body. Right? So you would put the hip, you would select the bone that you want, then you would add a socket, and then in the code you would attach to it. And I can show you that right here. Let's see here. Okay. See right here. So I when I overlap that weapon, overlap that sword, and I overlap the sphere, I check for that. Am I overlapping a weapon? Yes, I am. So then I equip the mesh of that weapon. I equip that mesh and I attach it right here to my right hand socket. And then that's how you get something that looks like this. Right? And then if we go to this, thumb, hand, right hand socket right there. Then you can move and play with that so you get it exactly in the area that you want. Okay, this is not a tutorial. I'm just explaining to you what I've been working on. And this is like way sped up. This took me a long time to learn. Okay. Selected only. Great. All right. Thank you, Echo. We'll be back to you. Okay. Next thing. So another thing that I found really valuable and I think should be a focus when learning C++ is enums. Enums that you can see here in this code, they just define the state of something in your game or with your character. And so with Echo, we have a few states that we're tracking so far. First, we're tracking, did she ever equip a weapon? So we have either she's unequipped, she doesn't have a weapon, or she equipped a one-hand weapon or a two-hand weapon. Then when she takes the sword and she puts it behind her back, we have another, let's go to that one. We have another state called, no, it's not that one either. Oh, okay, so, sorry, excuse me. So if a weapon is just sitting on the map, that weapon is either hovering or it's equipped, right? But if it's sitting on the map, it's not equipped, so it's in a hovering state. When it's in a hovering state, I allow that weapon to kind of do that 360, the 360 rotating thing, where it kind of rotates like that. Because you want that to stop once it's equipped, right? So if you want something that's happening to a weapon to kind of stop once something else happens, you either have to stop it completely or you can use states to kind of manage what's happening to these meshes. Okay, and then once Echo equips it, she goes from she's unequipped right now, so now she goes to equipped. Okay, and then when she puts it behind her back, she goes back to unequipped, but she has a variable that stores if she has an equipped weapon with her. If she has an equipped weapon with her, then she's able to pull that equipped weapon out of her back. I hope I explained that well. Okay, so enums. And then attacking with the weapons. So this took a bit, but there was a bunch of animations that we had to do. But what I really love is that we learned about animation montages. So let's find you those animations. So my attack montage, it's right here. Now these things are so powerful, man. Like, I freaking love Unreal. Like, so this is an animation montage, and it's just a bunch of different animations, and they're all kind of within one montage of animations. And when I want an animation to play, I can just tell it to play from these sections, but I can manage all of these animations all from one place. Now within these animations, you have these things called notifies. So this right down here, I'll try to zoom into it when I edit the video. But this down here, this is a notify. It's a weapon sound notify. So this weapon sound that I created, I just input it up here, and then I can just move it around in this animation where I want it to be. So let's say I want it like towards the end of my animation. It won't make sense, but like watch. Right? So it's like way later. Or if I want to start it way earlier, and you just drag it onto the animation when you want the weapon to, when you want that sound to play for that weapon, and it's right exactly where you want it. And then another cool thing that you can do is you can kind of create event notifies. So down here I have this attack end, right? This attack end, because something that we want to do is that at least we have in our game is when you attack, you can't be moving, because the attack animations are fixed in place animations. So if you're moving and you play those attacks, it'll look like you're sliding forward because your legs have stopped moving. And so we want to tell it like, hey, when you're playing this animation, stop moving. But we need to somehow signal back to the code that the animation is now over and now you can continue to move. So that's what we did. We created this attack end event notify. And then if you go to here, I have this node here. This is blueprints from Unreal. I have this node here that it's pretty much when this animation plays over this notify, it then runs this code and it says get the character and run the attack end function. Okay. Now if you go back to my character and you find attack end, which is right here, I'm resetting my state to unoccupied. Then when I'm unoccupied, it allows my move forward function to run. So my move forward function never runs when I'm not unoccupied, but once I'm occupied, it continues to run. So you can see how from the animation, from a notify to a function to a enum, you create like these trains of thought that kind of put together the whole game. So it's freaking awesome. I'm obsessed with it. I love it. But that might have not been the best explanation. If you do have questions about that, just ask me. I think I feel like I have a firm grip on this, on at least the basics of this, because I really enjoyed it. And so I tried to make it work as well as possible. So you can add sounds as notifies, particle effects as notifies, those little effects that come off my feet when I'm running. Let's see if we can see it. See that little dirt right there? Those little clouds right by my feet that they come up? Those are Niagara particle effects that are ran by a notify. So you could just take them, you would go to your montage, here where my notifies are. You just right click, add notify, and then here I have like play Niagara particle effect. So you put it in. So you put it in. Let's just find a stupid system. Oh, footsteps, dust. You know, and then let's see if we can see it. You might not be able to see it right away. Oh yeah, you can see it. Right now at the bottom there, you can see that dust. Oh, you know what? I might leave it. Yeah. Nice, just made the game better. Okay, and that's it. So that's the notify system, and now you can see how it kind of goes, how these things, they all interact. They all like come together and like a flower just blossoms. Okay, and we spoke about sounds, and this was another really cool thing, is these sounds here. So these sounds are Unreal Engine's new thing called meta sounds. It's really, really awesome. You can pretty much take one sound and turn it into 1,000 sounds just by randomizing the pitch and the volume, and you get a bunch of different different sounds from one actual wave file, right? So here we have like these footsteps, and from Valley of the Ancients demo project that we downloaded with Echo, we got a bunch of footsteps. It came with like a bunch of footstep sounds. You can see down here, I think we have 18 footsteps. And then we take those 18 and then I give it a random pitch. So every time it plays a footstep sound, it comes with a random pitch and a random volume. So think about how many random pitches could you have? Let's just say 100. Random volumes, let's just say, I don't know, 100 or 50. And that times 18. So we're talking like 18 to the 100th power to the 50th power of possible effects. Now you're not gonna hear the difference of each one, but here, let's just play it and you'll hear how they're different. There's no way you hear that, huh? Anyways, it's playing a bunch of different sounds. You can see down here, you see the volume go up, but the sounds are pretty light. Okay. So you can take a bunch of effects, you plug them in here as an array, and you take this thing that's this shuffle node, and it just pretty much selects a random wave file from that array of sounds. And then I'm randomizing a value for this pitch from the wave player. This actually plays the sound. I'm randomizing the pitch, and then I'm randomizing the out volume of the total sound. So the sound might come in at 100% volume, or it might come in at 50% volume, or somewhere in between with a random pitch amount. So if I had one wave step file, if you recorded yourself taking one step, you could actually turn that into, 20, 30, 40, 50 different step sounds just by using the Unreal Engine's new system. So, which is good, right? Like the least amount of assets that you need but still have, while still having variety in the kind of options to make your game not like one sound only or one footstep only, is awesome. It's like less work for us, and especially if you don't have like the capabilities to get all those things. Okay, so that's meta sound. And then the last thing, and this was the hardest thing for me, was editing the animations with keys. Let me kind of show you how this works. This is the kind of the last thing that we did. Let's go to, where's her animations? Oh, here. So we have this montage. Let's do one that I haven't really used. What's this? Horizontal attack. I like this attack. Okay, so we'll go and we'll find this. Let's find this one. So we have this standing melee attack. And you can see that it's just kind of hitting like that. But let's say you didn't like the height at which the attack is, and you wanted it like lower. You wanted the sword to kind of come this low. Or you didn't like that flick of the wrist at the end, or something like that. In Unreal Engine, you can go and you can edit the bones at any point during this animation. So like, let's say, like, you see she turns her hand and then she slides it over, but I want it lower, right? So we do this thing with keys. And so the first thing you do is you want to stabilize the animation. So everything up to here will be, first you select the bone. Let's see. But we want to select her right arm. Upper arm right. Okay. So up to this point in the animation, we like what we see. So we'll add a key here. Okay. And then we'll go forward, 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 and then up to, I don't really like it, but let's just say up to here I find another spot that from here to the end, so right, so from here to here I'm kind of like, yeah, this is good, and then this beginning part is good. But like right here is where I start to like want to change. I don't like how you can't see where your keys are, but oh, you probably could actually. Yeah, here's a key. And then here's a key. So from here, before, all of this before is going to stay the same. And then from this to the end, it's going to stay the same. So I can edit from here kind of whatever I want. So let's say from right here, I want that arm to kind of go lower. I don't want it to be, so I want her to kind of go for the knees here. No, not rotating. Yeah. Right? So let's say I want it to be this low, but then all the other bones will remain the same. So let's kind of see what this one looks like. So I add a key. Now let's kind of scrub back. She goes. Okay, but it's floating back too much. And you can see here. So here, this is that difference from before. And then these did change a bit. These other directions, right? So we have like our pitch, our yaw, and our roll, and we're changing them. But when I changed it, I only changed it at one instance. And then for the rest of that animation, it will slowly go back, interpolate back to those initial keys where I didn't want anything to change from. Right? So let's kind of smooth this out. Uh-oh. Unreal's freezing on me. Oh, okay, we're okay. Let's see how this looks before my computer blows up. Okay. Comes low. And you see here, it kind of shifts up. From right here, it goes up. Just like that. And then her arm comes back down. Anyways, you can adjust it. And I wish I could show you before and after, but it's just how you could like change little details in your animations. Oh, I do actually have two different ones. So I had this one, unarm equip, unarmed sheath edited. So this is the one that I edited. So this here was the sheathing that I had. This is how I got it to look at the end. But I want you to see what it looked like before, and you'll see the problem that I was having. Okay, and then the problem that I was having was this arm over the shoulder. No, it's the one where she arms herself. Equip over the shoulder. There we go. Okay, it won't let me pull them both up. Okay, so look here. When she brings it over it, the sword goes literally through her face. Goes through her face, through her neck, through her chest and stomach, and then comes out like that. And then when she pulls it from behind her back, comes back completely through her head, and then she's ready. So that's not really what you want. So you have to go back and use those keys to fix it. And then now if you look at it, I got it so where she pulls the sword, it goes over her head. Oh, it doesn't really go. What happened here? Oh, so this is just a preview of the mesh. This one, the sword's not actually there in the beginning. It's from the back. When she pulls it out right here, it goes over her head. And you'll see it doesn't freaking hit her at all. And straight in front of her face. So like, imagine you're pulling out a sword and you're like bringing it in front of you. It's like right there. So this first part here where it goes to her head, she's not actually holding the sword at that part of the animation. It's just I put a preview mesh there so I could see it. So the animation is from here. She grabs it, she pulls it out, and it comes over her head just like that. And let me show you how it looks in the other one.
There's always been a Baggins living here.
So she
under the hill.
grabs it again. It's already, you know, in her body.
There always will be.
And goes right through her face. So those are like small little details that you can correct within the animations using keys. So that is everything that I covered in the last month. I'll show you one more time. You can just run around, flip a weapon, attack. Different attacks, footsteps, jumping on ledges. This is from a last video where you can see her feet adjust to slopes. It's still a little bit bugged, honestly. And that's it. I'm pretty stoked. So I know you guys are thinking to yourself, wow, Robin, you've been doing this for like 3 months and that's all you got? Yeah, that's all I got. It's a slow process to learn this. There's so many little things. This is not like learning to drop ship something on Amazon where you just plug this in, do this, go here to find this. It's way more complex than that. There's a lot of like organizational choices that you make throughout the game. Where are you going to put this variable? How are you going to access it? How are you going to get it into the engine? Is it going to be readable by the blueprints? Is it in the private section? Is it in the protected section? There's like a whole bunch of different ways to do the same thing, and somebody else might be able to make the same exact thing that I made in a completely different way, using completely different, other systems even. But for all those people out there who are just getting into game development, don't be disheartened. It's a very, very hard skill or trade. And that's why a lot of these big companies that you see, Blizzard, Activision, Epic, these guys have hundreds and hundreds of people working on their games, right? Just that animation thing where I adjusted that animation, they might have a team of 50 people that just do that, So when you're starting to put the game together and you're doing everything, you're making the meshes, you're changing the colors on them, you're importing them, you're putting the sounds on them, you're you're adjusting the sound so it sounds good, then you're adding an animation to the sound, and then you're getting it in the game and you're actually coding when it plays. You're doing the job of literally 100 different people at these big game studios. So, and they still take 5 years to make a game. So when it's just you and you're going to go and want to start building a game, just plan on it taking time, because it does take time. It'll take a lot of time. And learning how to do it will take longer than it will to actually just do it. So just like I said in the beginning, I watch those videos for hours and hours, way longer than the video says to watch it for. And then it takes me about a week to get through all the videos and take all my notes, feel comfortable. And then on the weekend, I go and I crush the whole chapter in one day. So don't feel disheartened. It's a slow process, but it's so enjoyable. It's so fun getting something on screen, and then it has the sound, and then it has the animation, and it's just an awesome feeling. Well, that's it, guys. Thank you guys so much for making it to the end of the video. I'm sure a lot of you didn't, but that's totally okay with me, because I'm seeing here it says 47 minutes recorded. I'll try and go back and edit it and cut some things out, but I appreciate you guys so much. Next video will come when I have something else to show you guys. If you have any things that you want me to cover from Unreal, or do a little bit of a deeper dive in, just leave a comment, let me know. With that, see you next time.